Hi, it's Moni, and welcome to Mind and Your Business. Hey fam, welcome to Mind and Your Business with Moni Wilder. That'd be me. What an exciting day. What a beautiful day. And the reason I'm excited is because I have a friend, I would say, at least an acquaintance.
So. Yep. Mm-hmm.
We know each other from social media, but I've been watching you. You've been watching me. This is Shane Davis. And I just think Shane has such an interesting story. So I wanted to just kind of get into your story and talk about really how I feel that you're one of those people that exemplifies thinking outside of the box, living outside of the box, creating outside of the box. And
Absolutely.
You've created something really cool called Shoes for Soldiers, which we're going to talk about. And you've really tied that in with thinking creatively outside of the box and all that. So I thought this would be super helpful for people to be able to hear and really dig into the things, like the ideas in their mind that might be like, hey, like this is kind of a weird idea or doesn't have like a direct nexus with what I'm doing, but like you're a living example of how you can take these things and make those connections.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. It is an honor to actually be here and sharing my story with you. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad you're here. So let's start with just who you are.
Sure.
So you're Shane, but who are you? What's your background? Like, what's your
Absolutely.
vibe? What do you do? All that.
So I'm originally from Ohio, born and raised in Ohio in a small town, small school. And I've always had more of a bigger vision and bigger thinking. And honestly, I did use the military to get me out of Ohio to expand my horizons and my thinking. And I'm so glad that I did. Now, don't get me wrong. I miss my family and I do miss certain things of Ohio and everything like that. But getting me out of there, it opened my thinking and my expanding my horizons of the way I am.
Okay.
And then joining the military, like I was talking to earlier, is that it's something that was always in me. I felt it, and I wanted to serve my country. I didn't want anything else other than to serve my country, give back in a way. A lot of people that I was going through military basic training with, they were always talking about these bonuses that they might have been getting, schooling that they were getting paid for. I didn't want any of that. That was just me. I wanted to serve and just give back. And then it led into a lot of opportunities that where I am now after the military. And, that's where I expanded on my outside the box thinking.
Okay. So first of all, thanks for your service.
Appreciate it.
What branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
In the Army? Mm-hmm. How long were you in?
Between reserves and active duty, total of 8 years.
Okay, cool. And so, it's kind of funny that when I think about thinking outside of the box and then the military, these two things don't really to me mesh. So tell me about that. Like you being someone who said from the start, your small town in Ohio, you had a bigger vision for yourself.
Yeah.
And you also had this desire to serve your country.
Mm-hmm.
Did that military experience feed into that more? Did you meet other people like you that were also bigger thinkers? Or what was that experience like for somebody who seems to have quite a different way of thinking than what I would think would be someone who's also military oriented? No offense, but
right,
what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
pretty regimented. You're going to do what you need to do. What we say is what you're doing,
Exactly.
No outside of the box stuff.
You
so
do
what
as
was
you're
that
told
like?
And you follow the orders. But no, honestly, it wasn't the military that brought me into the thinking outside the box. It was actually me just having... Can I just give you the example of why and how it worked out? Okay, I think that might be the best thing.
You can do anything you want. This is my show.
I love it. Well, so after the military, it was one of those things is that I didn't have a plan on what I was going to do. A lot of times they always talk to you about, make sure you have a plan. What are you going to do after the military? Because, you're going to fall and this and that, yada, yada. Well, I didn't have a plan. So I had a family member that was going to be helping me get with ADT, the alarm company. Okay. And then doing sales. Well, I've never done sales before. My background is law enforcement. I used to be a corrections officer as well. And then I was an MP, military police in the Army. And so sales, I'm like, I'll try it. I don't care. And one of the things is that when you get in sales is sit down, make a bunch of calls. Call these people. Well, I tried that, and I honestly, that's not for me. I drove myself nuts trying to do that, and I was like, no, this ain't going to work. So I was trying to think of different ways to be able to get some business in for myself. And
so you ended up going and working for ADT.
I did. I worked for ADT. Sorry about that. I did work for ADT, and then I was doing all the things that they said to do to bring in business. Well, I started thinking to myself, like, well, there has to be a different way. I mean, sitting here making all these calls is not working for me. It's wasting a lot of my time. So what I started doing is that I used Craigslist at the time. I don't know if people still use Craigslist now, if it's big or not.
For certain things, they use Craigslist.
Okay. Well, back then is that I started noticing on Craigslist, and I worked at El Paso at Fort Bliss there, and there was a lot of soldiers coming in at that time. And we targeted the soldiers because if they were USAA members, they get a discount, yada, 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 and you're right on the border. So everybody was getting an alarm system. Well, I noticed on Craigslist that there was a lot of people giving away boxes on the free section. And I would tell me like, why are they giving away boxes? They're moving in. Yeah. So I started reaching out to those people and saying, hey, I'm sorry, I don't need the boxes, but I see that you're giving away boxes, and I do work for ADT, the #1 alarm system company here. Are you interested in getting an alarm system? And believe it or not, it actually worked.
Okay, so just so I'm tracking, because now I'm thinking for my business, because I steal everyone's ideas. That's how I'm successful. Yeah. So
no, nothing wrong with that.
So you're saying that you're sitting at ADT and they're telling you, hey, this is a sales job. In order for you to be good at sales, you're going to need to make 100 calls a day. And they have, what are these lists? Like, where are these leads coming from? Just
they're old leads, or they might be
just address lists.
Or maybe like they had old systems in the house and they're just following up on if they want to upgrade.
But these are not, I would say, these are not like warm leads. These are not people who are like, they just went online and said, I'm inquiring about a system, and you're calling them.
Correct.
This is cold call. Like, literally, this person is not expecting you to call.
Right.
You're like, fuck this. I don't want to do it.
Correct.
Because it's not working.
Yep.
So then you come up with the idea of like, you're browsing Craigslist one day and you see that people are like, hey, I just moved in, have a bunch of boxes are free. Come pick them up at my house.
Exactly.
And you use that as an idea to say, those are leads.
Right.
I should call them because they just bought a house. Mm-hmm. Now I know that the person that I am talking to likely has a need for an alarm system because they just moved into a new home.
They just moved into a new
Very
home.
Smart.
And so that was actually working. And I started sharing that, and people were like, oh, that's actually very smart. We never thought about that. Mm-hmm. And then I also was saying, you know what? I don't need to be in the office. Like I said, at the time, Fort Bliss was expanding and growing, and there was like thousands of soldiers coming in. So at any given point in time, you could drive up and down any block and there'd be a U-Haul or a big semi-truck coming in. Uh-huh. I would just stop and say, you moving in or moving out? If they're moving in, and I'll give my spiel about ADT, #1 alarm system company and working for USAA, and if they're military, I'd sign them up right there on the spot. Just because I took the initiative thinking, well, they're either moving in or moving out. If they're moving out, maybe they're moving across town. I don't know. But at least it gave me an opportunity to ask and talk. And most of the time they were moving in. Okay.
So you get yourself out of the office. You're out just driving around with your eyes open. Mm-hmm. And then you're just making decisions based on like basic ass critical thinking.
Yep.
Like, oh, I see a U-Haul. That means something for what I'm trying to sell.
Right.
The thing that I want to say that I think is important for the audience to hear with this is that, in my opinion, most success in sales is a lot of just like paying attention and listening to like what the person just said to you, and then being able to build around that thing that they just said. Right. So, or that they just showed you. They just showed you, I'm pulling up with the U-Haul. What could that mean for me? What could they possibly need? And then just having the boldness to approach them and have a conversation. That right there has you in front of them versus them receiving some random phone call.
Right.
That everybody hates. Nobody likes being called by somebody.
And this might be an opportunity because they've already got that on their checklist to be able to call a security company.
And now your checklist.
I'm just here already and already out of the way.
Let me handle that for you. Now it's one less thing you got to worry about. Here's the paperwork. I've got it here. Boom. Mm-hmm. So how did in your experience at ADT, I can't believe we're talking about ADT because I loathe when ADT calls me. Every time I close on a house, I get a call from ADT like, can I have your client's information so that I can call them? I'm like, why do you think I would give you my client's information? So anyways, this is, I guess, the brighter side of ADT. So how did they how did like the people running that place respond to you kind of bucking their system? How did that go over?
Well, this was more of the local branch there, so it never really got outside of that. So it was more accepted inside the branch with the manager, and they loved the fact that I was doing that. And when I did leave there, I did feel the like, you really got to go? You sure you don't want to leave and everything like that?
Yeah.
So it really felt good that I felt like what I was doing and everything like that it was being reciprocated, and maybe still being used there when I did leave.
So you can influence how they do things.
Exactly.
So they weren't like weird about it. They were
No. They were
Cool.
totally fine about it. I mean, I've never had no issues. Nobody ever said it had a side conversation with me or anything like that.
All right. So then what happened?
So that's whenever I worked for USAA. And here's another thing that I wanted to bring up, because in the industry that I am now, which is, we're going to talk about the Shoes for Soldiers, but also with the mortgages side, I use this tactic as well, is that I truly enjoy helping a lot of people, not just in certain areas. So when I worked for USAA, I was a auto claims adjuster. And I'll be honest with you, I sucked. I was horrible at that. Whenever I had to start talking on the phone and typing, I was horrible at both at the same time. And in fact, I had a conversation with the manager. The manager was like, you need to fix yourself or we're going to have to let you go. This ain't going to work out.
How did you go? But I'm kind of confused. So you're in a sales role at ADT, and then next thing you know, why are you now auto claims adjuster at USAA?
We moved cities, and we moved to San Antonio, and then USAA being a corporate office there, and then I talked to other people, and it was just one of those things. This the opportunity came, and I jumped on it. More stability, and wanted to give that a try. And plus, it was USAA is a military company, branded that way. So I thought this would be good for us.
How did you? Now that you look back on that, what do you feel about doing that step? Like, are you glad you did that?
No, I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I'm very glad that I did that, because it allowed me to expand my way of thinking as well. Now that I look back on that. And the reason why is because whenever I was talking to people, they didn't want us to be able to send them other places to be able to get more money from them. But we wanted to be able to serve and help our members. So a lot of people, and I'll give an example, is that I didn't make any extra money by doing this, but a lot of people, they don't know that there's pet insurance out there. But you always hear the stories about, man, my pet cost me this much money and this and that. So if I'm talking to somebody while they, about their car, need to get repaired, I'd get them taken care of at the body shop, get them set up for insurance. But they'd be talking about their dog, or I'd hear something about the dog. And then I'd mention to them, hey, did you know that we had pet insurance? I don't know if that's something that you'd want information on or not. And sometimes they'd be like, oh, you guys do? Yeah, absolutely. Would you like some more information on that? Yes or no? And then whenever they say, yeah, we'd like to actually get some more information about that. Cool, I'll get you in touch with somebody. And I thought that was really awesome that I'm able to help out in a different area than what I'm truly here to do.
Why does that matter to you?
Well, because it matters now is because as a mortgage lender is like the relationships that I'm able to.
Not as a mortgage lender. Why does being able to do that matter to you?
Because I believe I'm making a difference in somebody's life.
Have you always been that way?
Yeah, I have. I didn't recognize it though until 5-6 years ago. So I've always been that way, and my mom would tell me that, but I didn't really listen to her. So
like do you feel like, looking back at who you are and the things that you have done, have you always been like the type of person that's driven more to solve problems and help people as much as you can, regardless of if it's your lane?
Yep.
So it's like, in the example you just gave, okay, well, you don't sell pet insurance, you don't get anything for doing that, but you want to make sure that this person's totally taken care of, is the point. Exactly. Okay, yeah, I feel that. Exactly. Like I said, I didn't recognize it, but I looking back here is that I've always been that way. But also, going back even, in high school and stuff like that, I've always been involved in sports, football and everything like that. So, I think there's a way that we're able to help each other, and it's not always going to be monetary and money that's going to be the benefit. Sometimes it's just a really good feeling, just helping other people and help them get ahead in life. Well, I think there's a lot to that, what you just said, it's probably worth mentioning. So because we both live in you're paid like commission, right? So am I. So we both live in that world, and most people listening probably live in that world too. And one of the things that I've learned is that you have to really just be leading with value as much as possible at all times. I mean, if you're going to want to command respect, you're going to want to be hired, you're going to want to, command a big commissions or be hired over other people. It's really about how much value are you out there putting out there, regardless of if it is something in this moment is going to pay you now, it'll probably pay you back later.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Is that the experience you've had as well?
It is. It truly is. And, the payback that whatever goes around comes around, it comes in different forms. And I can appreciate every time that does come back around, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a referral, if it's somebody helping me out, or just remembering and talking about it and said, hey, I appreciate you helping me out. And it just makes me feel good about that. Yeah.
So it's like if you are a person who maybe starts to reframe yourself as like a contributor, like that's one of the things that I like to think of myself as is like, I'm a person who contributes.
Right.
Any place, if I'm at a brokerage, I want to contribute. If I'm, in a relationship, a friendship, I want to contribute. I don't want to be like just receiving all the time. It kind of makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Or even with my clients, my social media, everything I'm putting out, I'm trying to contribute. I'm trying to bring some value, knowing, like you said, which is super astute. It's like it doesn't always come back to you. You might have, like this happens all the time with realtors. You got a person who hired a different realtor, didn't hire you.
Right.
But then their shit's fucked up. Mm-hmm. So now they're calling you and being like, hey, what do you think? Blah, 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 blah. And there's like so many, I see this on like the real estate forums on Facebook or whatever, but people are like, fuck them. Like, no, don't help them, blah, 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 which there's some truth to it because it's like, there is a code of ethics and you're not supposed to like be someone else's realtor on the side. Right. But, that person isn't going to pay you, right? They didn't hire you for whatever reason, but now like you have a chance to give to them, even though you're not going to receive back from them, but you never know what you're going to receive back.
Person.
Yeah. I'm just being helpful and being that contributor. So I think that's a cool thing to highlight with what you said. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this kind of feeds into Shoes for Soldiers of your desire to contribute more. So can you share with us?
There's a lot of value that I like to bring, and it's a big dynamic. So I would like to share with you the reason why Shoes for Soldiers did come apart and come alive, if you will. The reason why it came alive is because I like to still stay active. Me and my wife, we still go. You ever heard of Orange Theory Fitness? Or
of course.
Okay. Have you ever been to a class?
One of my nemesis is because I owned a CrossFit, so I'm very aware of Orange Theory and all the members they took from me. Continue.
Don't make me laugh. I'm so sorry, but I will have to bring that up because it is part of the story. Is that me and my wife, we would go to Orange Theory Fitness, and I was having a lot of pain in my feet. The last few years, I had fasciitis and I had arthritis in my ankles and other things going on. And through the VA, I was getting cortisone shots. In fact, I was getting so many cortisone shots that they finally said, we can't give you no more.
Yeah.
You've already had enough and it's going to do more damage than good for you. So we need to find another way of fixing and correcting this. Well, I'm the type of person where is that I'm going to go through the pain, even in the military, it's like drink some water, take some Tylenol, you're good to go. And so that's what I've always been doing. And so I was still going through the classes, but I was hurting. I was dying. And in the mornings, I don't know if you've ever felt this, but I couldn't even get out of bed without.
Plantar fasciitis is
no
pretty
joke.
Crazy.
It's no joke.
I'm a long distance runner, so I'm familiar.
Thank you. Okay. So I appreciate that, but I hope that you're doing well now. But and it was horrible for me. I couldn't even get out of bed. So I started noticing everybody in the class, but me and my wife are wearing like Hoka's, Brooks running shoes. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of these shoes before. I'm the only one in there. Me and my wife wearing Under Armour or Nike. I'm like, why is this? That thinking. Why? Sure. Being observant. Why are we the only ones in here and everyone else is wearing these? So eventually I said, screw it. Let's see what this is about. So we went to Dick's and, bought some nice Brooks running shoes, and they're kind of expensive and everything like that. But we went to class, said, let's see what this is all about.
Yeah.
Made a huge difference. Huge, where it didn't take away all the pain, It didn't, but it did make it enough to where I realized that I should have been wearing good running shoes like Brooks the whole time. And that's when I decided then and there that I'm going to start giving back off of my commissions to active duty militaries. And that's how Shoes for Soldiers came apart, because I wanted to give back and educate the soldiers. And that's what I've been doing.
Okay, so we don't know what Shoes for Soldiers is. So tell us what it is.
Shoes for Soldiers it's for active duty members, because I'm trying to, there's a term in the military we used in the Army called PMCS. It's Preventative Maintenance Checks and Services. So pretty much before you go out on a mission, you want to make sure you are good to go, water, your ammo, everything like that, is because you don't want to get out there and find out that you have a flat tire.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do right now is PMCS to soldiers before they get to retired or veteran status. Take care of your feet, take care of your body right now, because then later on, you're helping yourself later on in life. And so we use the Brooks running shoes to educate the soldier. So it's pretty much just an educational platform that we collect donations for, and we send out brand new Brooks running shoes to active duty soldiers.
How amazing. So, and you said that you donate part of your commission also to help purchase shoes.
That's how it started out. And then it just got bigger and bigger because, I'm not going to keep it to myself. I'm going to tell people about it. And then, of course, people were saying, well, how do I become part of that? And then I wanted to also have the realtors join in, because I'm working with the realtors. Hey, this is what we can do together. And that's the value I was trying to bring to realtors. But as you may know, some realtors, they're going to be for it. Some are not going to be for it. And it is what it is.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk out loud to you just because I'm thinking about it. So you've got realtors that can partner with you on this. What about clients? Can clients?
Anybody. So
anyone can donate?
I've already had clients giving me, be like, I love what you're doing here. How do I contribute? And here's donations. Can
a client, so let's say if you're doing a loan for a buyer, can a buyer increase their closing costs by $100 to cover a pair of shoes? Is that a thing that can happen?
No, it can't
or
be like that. Or
how do they do it?
It has to come from them personally.
Is this a nonprofit?
It's a nonprofit. Mm-hmm.
So you started a nonprofit organization.
I did. Yep.
Talk to me about that, because I know that's not easy to do.
I had to. I'm not a person. I'm a person that's not afraid to ask questions, and I asked anybody and everybody that I would think that would contribute or lead me in the right direction on how to do that. And that's basically what it is. Is I asked somebody, hey, how do I do this? And this is what you do. Well, you go online and then you have to go to this website. And then I asked somebody, hey, can you help me, figure this out? Like I asked a tax person, and they're like, oh yeah. And then they sat down with me and they showed me, this is what we need to do. This is what you got to sign. You got to get your board members, this and that. And that's basically all it did. And then I submitted it, crossing my fingers, and when it came back, here's your EIN number. Oh, it worked. Cool. I like it.
So you just started a nonprofit? I
did.
Okay.
Well, here's the reason why I started it is because we started collecting donations, and that's illegal.
Yeah, you have to do. You have to actually.
Exactly. So I wanted to be legit, legal, no ramifications, nothing. So do it right.
I think that is so cool. So when you were deciding to do this, were you thinking about a nexus between the fact that I'm assuming at this point you're a loan officer, you said you were donating. So did you make a connection between VA buyers, that whole VA buyers and sellers, and you doing something for veterans? And so did you have some drive to do this because you also saw that it could lead to making more relationships with people so that you can generate more business for yourself?
Kind of, in a way, because like I said, you know as well as I do. I don't know how many lenders you've been out on dates with, on lunches and coffees, but
just one. I'm married to one. So.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. So, but this was one of those things is that I wanted to be able to open it up, and I realized that the more people I have involved in helping me, the more we're able to help soldiers out. But here's another gratifying thing is that it's not just the soldiers, because I'm having parents reach out to me, and they're the ones that are very thankful for taking care of their soldier.
Sure.
And I appreciate and love that so much. But that's where exactly like you said is that I'm able to work with businesses that say, hey, I want to be a part of this. Well, that's a relationship I'm able to grow with them and help them out. And realtors, hey, and I'm able to grow and work with them. And at first I was going to say, well, we have to work together, this and that. Then I've realized I'm an idiot. It's not about me. So I open it up, and if realtors say, hey, I have a closing, no matter who they work with, I want to donate. Perfect. Let's go.
I think that is so smart. Because if you really realize that what this boils down, in my experience, the real success is relationships, right? So it's like the number of relationships that you can create, really, no matter where they come from, that's your power, right? That's your database. Those are the people that you get to then influence, and hopefully maybe one day you can help them or someone they know. So for you to keep it broad and not really put strings on it, and instead just say, listen, I'm going to have a different conversation. And that's smart, because for you, your primary lead is a realtor. Like that's who you really want to connect with. Because generally, buyers or sellers are going to contact a realtor before they contact a loan officer. And so that's why we're the conduit. So for you to be able to go to a realtor and be like, hey, I don't want to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you and talk about how I can help you grow your business, which we hear 7 to 8 times a day from every fucking lender on the planet. Now you have a different conversation.
And you're absolutely right.
It's not related to the same thing everyone else is saying. So you don't get the automatic block report spam. Now you have, oh, what is that? Yeah, I care about military. I want to hear about what this is. And to me, if I'm, as an agent, how great is it for marketing for me to be able to say, I donate, to Shoes for Soldiers every closing. I donate that. To me now, it, endears me and also makes me seem like an expert kind of to that VA buyer. Because if I'm donating every time, that that means that I have some connection to VA buyers. I think it's really super smart, dude.
Well, this is the thinking outside the box, and this is what I teach the realtors to do, because this is the value that I bring. Just like you said, the lenders, we do the exact same thing. We close on time, we have great rates, we promise this and we promise that, we answer our phone calls, this and that, send out the emails. My thing is that I want to be able to help you to be able to get more business. And what we like to do is we want to tell everybody that we're a realtor, we're a mortgage lender. We want everybody, but we don't want to be that person. Hey, guess what? I'm a realtor. You ready to sell or buy a house?
Yeah.
This way, I'm at the gym, I'm at the store, I'm at Target, I'm at Costco. I'm being specific, and I'm looking for people that's wearing Brooks running shoes. I'm looking for people that are maybe have some kind of military insignia. That opens up that gateway for me to talk to them and say, hey, I like your Brooks running shoes. How long you been wearing Brooks for? Oh, and they get very passionate. I love Brooks. I've been wearing these for so long. Who doesn't
love Brooks?
Exactly. I've been wearing these for so long, and that opens up the door. And then I'm able to say, hey, the reason why I'm asking about Brooks is because I have a nonprofit called Shoes for Soldiers, and what I do is I donate Brooks running shoes to active duty soldiers. Now, if you would like to participate, go to my website. Here's my business card. I'm also a mortgage lender, and what I do is I take a portion of my commission and I donate it to the active duty soldiers. So I'm able to make that connection, and then that's what I teach the realtors to do. Yeah.
So I think that's getting back to the theme of this, thinking outside the box. This is such a great example of that, and I think it creates a space for people to open their minds and think about those things that they are passionate about on the side. And how is it that you can take that thing that you're passionate about and create a different conversation? Because really that's what it is. It's like once you can get the door open to the conversation, that's the hardest part. But if everyone is leading with the same intro, the likelihood that you're going to get picked out of 10 other people saying the same shit is low.
Right.
But if you have a way to talk to them about something different, the company I used to work for, 72 Sold, they led with a program as opposed to a person, right? So it's the same concept as like have a program that, gets your foot in the door. Once your foot's in the door, then it's learn about what their needs are, and then answer the needs. And that's the part that your creativity, your expertise, your whatever can take over. Like that's that part. But really it's that initial conversation where thinking outside the box is going to help people just get in front of the right person and get their ears open and not tuning you out because you're saying the same stuff everybody else says.
Right.
Super smart, man.
And I use it, like I said, for me personally, I go to the same gym, but I'm not that type of person. I just put my headphones in there and mind my own business, do my thing. No, I'm trying to connect and talk to a lot of people in here because we see each other every day, but we don't talk to each other every day.
Sure.
Well, I want them to know my name and what I'm about and who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And like to be about helping soldiers or helping kids or helping animals or whatever it is, or to be about your passion for, plants or whatever it is that you like. I mean, that creates these connections. And then the connections are really what get you paid at the end of the day.
Yep.
Again, and being that contributor with those connections is huge. So before I forget about it, does Brooks help you out with this at all? Does Brooks Running do anything to kind of help subsidize this?
In a way, they can't officially sponsor me or anything like that. I'm trying to work on that. Maybe if I keep on getting bigger and bigger.
I want to hear why.
Well,
of course they can.
Because legalities and stuff like that. But they did give me...
Brooks, step up. Brooks, step up. We're going to tag Brooks Running in this to step up. Soldiers' feet are hurting.
Well,
Let's go.
I tag them a lot on my posts that I do because whenever people donate, I truly want people to see where their money's going at.
Yeah.
So I try to make sure that soldiers send me pictures back so that I can post that out there. And but Brooks does give me a pretty decent size discount, which allows me to use that and send directly from Brooks. Yes.
Get more shoes. Okay, and then that's I guess that's fine. I sorry Brooks for talking shit about you.
Yeah,
earlier.
so I'm grateful for that.
I will say that I know. I'm just going to tell you this. I used to sell running shoes. On my many sales jobs in my life. And I worked at a store called Runner's Den, which is here in Phoenix, and it's like nationally known. And I used to fit people in running shoes, including Brooks running shoes. So do like gait analysis, watch them run, then help them find the right shoe.
Right.
Point saying all this is if you ever need a connection with a human being at Brooks, they are super connected at Runner's Den. So I'm sure I can do an intro for you to get you talking to a human rep that might be able to get further.
People helping
for
people.
You. People helping. Look at me being a contributor. See?
Absolutely.
Well, Shane, thank you so much for sharing about you and Shoes for Soldiers, and really just like honestly for giving such a great example of like how you can think outside of the box, find something that speaks to you in particular, and parlaying that into something that also helps you grow your business. I think it's super valuable, and I'm so glad you were here to share it.
And then thank you so much for having me. Like I said, as soon as I saw you going to start doing this and what it's about, I said, I got to be a part of that. I have to share and I have to talk about it as well.
I'm so glad you did. You have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too.
Hey guys, thanks for listening and watching. Love you. See you next week. Bye.